Heartwarming twist. Nurse S' incredible journey revealed after patient S' dad asks her on a date. In a small American town where everyone knew each other's business, Sarah S' life as a nurse was nothing short of heroic. At 28 years old, she was the heart of the local hospital, pouring her soul into every patient she cared for. Days blurred into nights as she returned home to her aging father, Tom, a retired veteran whose wisdom and hard work had shaped her life. As the leaves fell in vibrant hues of orange and gold, Sarah knew she was losing her father to time's unrelenting grip, and the weight of that thought often left her breathless on an especially exhausting autumn evening. After tending to the patients, and with the hum of medical machines still echoing in her mind, Sarah found herself in a tender moment with Mark, the single dad of her patient, a small boy with a stubborn cough. Mark's eyes were kind, filled with gratitude, and even in his worn clothes, he carried an undeniable warmth. As Sarah examined his son, he quietly slipped her a note with an invitation for coffee. Her heart raced. It was a simple yet bold gesture that felt like a breath of fresh air. Whispers rippled through the town about their connection, as gossip mingled with the crisp fall air. Some raised eyebrows at their disparate social standings, her as a dedicated nurse, him as a struggling single dad. Yet, in Mark, Sarah found a kindred spirit. As they shared stolen moments over coffee, she discovered that his struggles carved deep valleys of resilience within him. Every laugh they shared, every conversation that drifted into the early morning hours, felt like crossing bridges over insecurities. However, just as love began to stitch their lives together, Sarah's world shattered when her father fell seriously ill. Panic gripped her heart and twisted it into knots. The hospital buzzed with urgency while at home. Uncertainty lingered like a thick fog. Torn between her love for Mark and her commitment to her father, Sarah felt shackled to an impossible choice. A wave of doubt washed over her, whispering that time was running out, that she was destined to lose both men she cherished. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when Sarah felt she couldn't bear the weight of it all, a heartbreaking discovery surfaced. Mark's late wife had been a close friend of her father. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. All this time, they shared a connection deeper than she could have imagined, a bond fortified by love and sacrifice that transcended their very different lives. In that moment, everything came rushing back. Her father's stories of camaraderie, of love lost and found. It was as if the universe was weaving them back together. As Sarah stood at the crossroads between family duty and new love, she faced a pivotal question. Could love truly rewrite the destinies that seemed so set? As autumn leaves danced in the wind, she feared for her father's life, and for the future she dared to dream with Mark. Would they emerge from this storm together, or was fate playing its cruel hand once more? The days that followed felt like a blur of stark white hospital walls and hushed conversations. Each moment stretched endlessly for Sarah, her heart heavy with worry as she balanced her shifts at the hospital and visits to her father's bedside. The once vibrant autumn seemed muted now, lacking the warm glow of possibility. Instead, each leaf that fell was a reminder of time slipping away. Mark reached out, checking in with text messages filled with encouragement. "I'm here for you, Sarah," he wrote, his digital words a lifeline that anchored her amidst the chaos. Yet each reply felt like a weight on her chest, the guilt of diverting her attention from her father gnawing at her. The deeper their bond grew, the more she realized how precarious her situation was. She didn't want to drag him into her turmoil, but Mark's understanding presence was also a balm for her soul. While Sarah navigated her worries, her father lay there, his breaths becoming shallow and soft like whispers of yesterday. He often drifted in and out of consciousness, moments of clarity whisking him back to her childhood, as he mumbled stories of disciplined legacy and resilience. During those fleeting moments, she would sit by his bedside, tears caught in her throat. She would whisper to him, "Dad, I'm here." You need to fight, okay? One evening, as twilight cloaked the hospital in a tinder blue hue, Sarah stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. The crispness of fall bit at her skin, but the chill paled in comparison to the frost she felt in her heart. Thoughts of Mark flickered in her mind like the dying light of the day, a warmth that contrasted the somber reality of her father's failing health. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was Mark. Need a distraction? He texted, an invitation that offered a glimmer of hope. For a brief moment, she hesitated, staring at her phone like it held both options of salvation and guilt. She wanted to scream into the stillness, but instead, she took a deep breath. Slowly, she typed back, her fingers quivering. Yes, please. They agreed to meet at a small coffee shop, one they had stumbled upon together weeks ago. As she walked through the door, the familiar aroma of coffee and baked goods enveloped her, wrapping her in comfort. Mark was already seated, his face lighting up with a smile that radiated kindness. For those few hours, the weight on her shoulders fell away, each shared laugh sewing them closer together. But as they laughed, the laughter died down and realities seeped back in. He leaned forward, concern creeping into his voice. Sarah, how is your dad? He asked gently. The question hit her like a punch to the gut. Not great, she admitted, feeling her shield of happiness cracking. I'm terrified. In that moment, he reached across the table, his hand covering hers. You're not alone. We'll figure this out together, I promise. Tears brimmed her eyes, not just for her father, but for the man sitting before her, his sincerity a light in a dark time. Could she allow herself to lean on him fully? Could she dare to believe in love amidst despair? As they talked, thoughts of family and future intertwined in Sarah's mind. Visions of warmth, laughter, and perhaps a family that includes both Mark and her father materialized. But just as hope glimmered dimly, the shadow of doubt crept back in. What if she lost her chance at love, too? That night, Sarah returned home, her father's sleeping form illuminated by the moonlight. She stood in the doorway, lingering in the uncertainty of the moment. The weight of her choices pressed heavily on her heart. Could she let herself believe in the possibility of love while facing life's fiercest challenges? As the autumn winds swept through the open window, carrying both the sweet scent of change and a reminder of loss, Sarah felt a flicker of determination. Tomorrow held no guarantees, but perhaps, just perhaps, love could be the strength she needed to fight for both the man who had given her life and the one willing to stand by her side. The struggle ahead would be daunting, but she knew now that she wasn't alone in it. Would Sarah find a way to embrace both love and duty? Would the threads of their lives knit together, or would they unravel, leaving her with a choice that could change everything? The next morning, Sarah felt the weight of the world as she trudged into the hospital. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, bright yet unforgiving, and she took a moment to sink her hands into her pockets, desperately searching for a moment's peace. Her heart still ached from the night before, when she wrestled with the stirring hope Mark had ignited within her. But that hope felt fragile in the face of her father's faltering health. She rounded the corner to his room, the sound of beeping machines and quiet murmurs greeting her. The sight of him pale and still squeezed her heart. She pulled a chair closer and took his frail hand in hers, tracing the familiar creases. It's me, Dad, she whispered, hoping for a sign of recognition. More often than not, those moments were fleeting, but today felt different. Sarah? His voice was barely above a whisper, but it was there, like an echo from the past. Yes, Dad. It's me, she replied, blinking back tears. Beautiful day, he mumbled, faintly smiling as he looked out the window. It wasn't he. Beautiful gray clouds loomed and promised rain, but she wouldn't correct him. She needed this moment, brief though it was, to linger in the fleeting happiness. You've always made it brighter. As they talked about old memories, the long drives to the beach, backyard barbecues, and family game nights, a heavy knock interrupted. Dr. Allen walked in just as her father drifted back into a semi-conscious state. The doctor's expression was serious, and Sarah steeled herself for what might come next. Sarah, can we speak privately? He beckoned her to step out into the hallway. The pit in her stomach deepened, and she followed, dread pooling within her. Your father's current condition is unstable, he began, and Sarah held on to the wall for support. She listened as he detailed the steps they need to take, treatment options that felt increasingly futile. Another round of tests. More medication. It's tough, but we're here for you both. The words echoed, but she barely understood them. The world constricted around her, reality crashing in waves, drowning her in despair. At that moment, she felt the raw enormity of life's unfairness. Her thoughts flickered to Mark, his warmth, and his promise to be there. In that instant, she made a decision. She wouldn't let the darkness consume her. She returned to her father's room, wiping the tears that escaped down her cheeks, but forcing a smile. "You still with me, Dad?" His eyes fluttered open, a hint of clarity returning. "Always you are my heart, Sarah." Those words hit her like a wave of solace. She realized then that love was in the little things, the words spoken, the time shared, and the quiet moments of connection. She squeezed her father's hand, remembering the strength he'd shown her throughout her life. Later, as she stole a moment in the nurse's break room, her phone buzzed again. It was Mark again. "Hey, just checking in. Want to grab dinner tomorrow? I know a great place." Her heart raced. Dinner. Time away from the hospital, from the sorrow. She typed back, "I'd love that," and felt a lift, a flicker of excitement that had been absent for too long. But soon, doubt crept in. Could she open herself up to a future with Mark when everything seemed so uncertain? Would indulging in her own happiness pull her further from her duties at home? As uncertainty loomed overhead, Sarah took a deep breath and made a choice. If she was going to navigate this journey, she needed to embrace every moment, love, laughter, and connection included. Tomorrow would hold new battles, but for now, she would hold on to both her father's love and the promise of something beautiful with Mark. The clock ticked on, and she pondered what could come next. Would she be brave enough to let someone in amid the chaos of caring for her father? Or would her fears keep her locked in a painful stasis, preventing her from finding joy in unexpected places? The next day came too quickly, the weight of the morning already heavy on Sarah's shoulders. She arrived at the hospital with a mix of hope and trepidation. Her phone buzzed as she walked through the familiar halls, causing her pulse to quicken. It was a message from Mark. "Can't wait to see you tonight." A wave of warmth surged through her, yet the pit of worry remained, digging deeper with every step she took toward her father's room. The scent of antiseptic filled the air, and she felt like she was walking into a different world, one where time seemed to pause and yet keep moving at an agonizing pace. Pushing the door open, she greeted her father with a forced smile. He looked up at her, the same pale face she'd seen for days, but there was a flicker of recognition in his eyes. "It's my angel," he murmured, his voice cracking. Returning the smile, her heart swelled, and she squeezed his hand, wishing to transfer some of her vitality to him. "How are you feeling today? Did you get any rest?" He shrugged, the effort seemingly taxing. "The nurses are nice. They remind me of you, always checking in." She laughed lightly, feeling buoyed by his words. Even as they held an underlying sadness, as the day crept on, small moments of connection brightened the bleak hospital atmosphere. They reminisced about Sarah's childhood memories, stories of her first day at school, and the time she got lost at a local fair. Each laugh built a fragile wall against the encroaching despair that sat just behind them. When her father's eyes began to droop again, exhaustion reclaiming him, Sarah excused herself. She stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, her mind whirling with the day's events. The clouds were finally parting to reveal patches of blue, a hopeful reminder of brighter days, perhaps even a sign to embrace the evening ahead with Mark. With every tick of the clock, anticipation battled against guilt. Could she let herself enjoy dinner when her father was fighting to stay awake? The answer to that question twisted inside her like a knife. Just then, she heard footsteps behind her. "Hey," Mark's voice was a soothing balm. He stepped out from the shadow of the hospital entrance, looking at her with a warmth that felt so out of place amid all the clinical sterility. "I thought I'd find you here." Her heart fluttered. "I'm just taking a break. I know it's tough. I'm here for you, no matter what." He stepped closer, sincerity written on his face. For a moment, everything felt lighter, and Sarah took the courage to be honest. "I'm scared, Mark. Scared to let go, even for a little bit. I don't know how to juggle everything." His expression softened. "It's okay to feel that way, Sarah. But just remember, taking care of yourself doesn't mean you are neglecting anyone else. You deserve joy too." His words soaked in, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. The fear didn't vanish, but it shifted, creating a space for hope. Maybe he was right. They could connect, even in uncertainty. I'll think about it, she replied, a hint of a smile creeping back. As they talked about lighter topics, sharing laughter that felt almost foreign, it became clear that enjoying life should not be a guilty pleasure. But just as Sarah began to relax, her phone buzzed again. An urgent message from the hospital. Her heart dropped, and the reality of her situation crashed back in. It's about my dad, she murmured. Mark's hand tightened around hers. You should go. I'll be right here, waiting. Sarah took a deep breath, standing on the line between old and new, between responsibility and freedom. She looked at him, searching for a hint of reassurance. Could she truly let in the possibility of joy with Mark while standing atop this precipice of uncertainty? As she sprinted back into the hospital, one question lingered in her mind. Was she ready to embrace the unexpected gifts life had to offer? The fluorescent lights flickered as Sarah dashed through the hospital corridors, her heart racing faster than her feet could carry her. Each step pounded against the linoleum floor, an echo of urgency. She reached her father's room, throwing the door open with a breathless rush. Inside, her father was awake, a shade of pallor still clinging to his face, but something was different. His eyes were alert, fixated on a woman in scrubs standing by his side. A nurse, with a gentle smile, was adjusting her clipboard. Dad, Sarah faltered, confusion wrapping around her. Sarah. His voice was stronger, filled with an unexpected enthusiasm. You should meet Anna. She has been amazing. The nurse's eyes sparkled as she met Sarah's gaze, her warmth almost tangible. Your father has been quite the champion today, Anna said, her voice sweet but firm. He was just telling me about you, Sarah. Such lovely stories. Sarah glanced from her dad to Anna, unsure of how to respond. Her father seemed animated, the slight shadows under his eyes hinting at an earlier weakness. I'm glad you're feeling better. The words stumbled out, laden with disbelief. Feeling great. He beamed. Anna here made sure I was comfortable. We've been talking about your childhood escapades. A soft chuckle escaped Anna's lips, and she leaned slightly, mirroring Sarah's father's joy. I could listen to him for hours. He has such a rich history. The room felt filled with an unexpected warmth. The tension in Sarah's chest eased slightly, replaced by an uninvited sense of jealousy. Was this someone else taking the space reserved for her? Just then, her father turned his focus back to her, vulnerable and open. You know, Sarah, I've been thinking. He paused, eyes glinting with an idea. I want you to enjoy your life more. You're always so serious and worried. Maybe we could all have dinner together, just to laugh and share. Sarah's heart sank, tangled with thoughts of Mark waiting outside. How could she embrace joy for herself when her father needed her? Dad, But then Anna chimed in. We could set that up. It would be so lovely. The excitement in her voice, coupled with her father's hopeful look, made it impossible for Sarah to voice her hesitation. Sure, let us do that, Sarah found herself agreeing, even though the weight of expectation pressed heavier on her soul. Before they could discuss the details further, her phone buzzed again. It was Mark. Everything okay? I can come in. Sarah's heart raced. Just a minute. She shot back. Anna was watching her closely, an expression that held both curiosity and concern. You okay? Yeah, Sarah hesitated. I just need a moment, please. As Anna stepped outside to give Sarah space, the door hung open, letting in cool air. Dad, she sighed, sitting down beside him. I don't want to disappoint you, but I'm just juggling so much right now. Mark is waiting for me. I feel torn. He looked at her, and she could see the weight of understanding in his eyes. Sweetheart, it's all right to feel torn. Life doesn't always fit into neat boxes. It's messy and complicated. But remember, those who love you will understand. His words struck a chord. It felt like a lifeline sent out into her stormy waters. Just then, Anna returned, pulling Sarah from her reverie. I hope you don't mind, Anna said, hesitantly. Your dad suggested that we exchange numbers to make it easier to plan that dinner. Sarah felt a surge of emotion, both gratitude and discomfort washing over her. I need to think about it. Anna nodded in a way that was supportive but not pushy. Sarah could feel her father's gaze, encouraging and expectant, but as she battled with her decisions, it dawned on her. Just when she thought she was finding her footing, life threw in another twist. Could she really open herself up to new possibilities? Her phone buzzed again, this time with a different urgency. Mark's name glowed on the screen, and as she looked at it, the decision loomed larger than ever. In that moment, Sarah understood. The balance of love, family, and new beginnings was a delicate dance, and she was standing on the precipice of a life-altering choice. Could she find a way to embrace both? Would she rise to meet the challenge, or would it sweep her under? As the phone buzzed again, Sarah felt the world tilt beneath her. It wasn't just Mark's name lighting up the screen. It was a gentle reminder of the life she had outside these hospital walls. The paint-chipped blue of her father's room felt both comforting and confining. She sighed, her fingers hovering over the screen. She had a choice to make. Sarah? Her father's voice sliced through her thoughts. You all right? Looking into his eyes, she saw the loving support that had always been there. Yet, that warmth mingled with a now familiar guilt. Could she juggle the demands pressing down on her? She glanced toward the door, where Anna stood waiting like a guardian angel, ready to slip back in at a moment's notice. Dad, I'm just figuring things out. Hey, don't pressure yourself, he said softly, his tone steadying her racing thoughts. You don't have to do this alone. You can have your life and enjoy it, too. Just remember to breathe. His encouragement felt like a breath of fresh air. For the first time, it struck her that maybe her dad wasn't just thinking of her. He also craved connection. He wanted life's rich moments, just as much as she did. Before she could voice that thought, the door creaked open again. Anna stepped in, her presence brightening the space. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to check if you two needed anything. Sarah felt a splash of warmth and vulnerability all at once. Actually, Anna, she started, but her thoughts fizzled out as Mark texted her again. You there? Anna's attention turned inquisitive, and Sarah hesitated. The dance of emotions she felt was becoming overwhelming. Yet, somehow, deep inside, a determination sparked. No, we're good, her father interjected, offering her a reassuring glance. We were just talking about dinner plans. Ah, the dinner. Anna's face lit up, the excitement in her voice lifting the room. I can't wait to meet you both outside of work. It'll be fun. Amidst the swirling choices, Sarah sensed a shift. Was it possible that this nurse, in small ways, influenced both her father's happiness and her own? Sarah? Her father's voice drew her back in. What do you think? Taking a deep breath, she let it out in a long sigh. I think it might be nice to have dinner. I want to cherish these moments, Dad, both with you and with people who care. Anna's smile broadened, reaching her eyes. I promise it will be a memorable evening. Just think of all the stories we can share. And food, her dad added, his enthusiasm contagious. I can't remember the last time we just sat and laughed over a meal. Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed again. This time it was Mark calling. She felt a tightness in her chest, a pull between two worlds demanding her attention. Should she answer? What would that mean for the moment unfolding here? Have you thought about what you want, Sarah? Her father's voice brought her back. It's about you too, you know. Her heart raced with indecision. Would answering Mark mean shutting out her father's wishes? Or could she somehow find a way to embrace both her personal and family lives? Dad, are the words caught in her throat as she faced the conflict. In that moment, she knew she needed to make a choice, to confront her tangled feelings head-on. The phone's urgency echoed louder in her hand. Maybe this was the time to redefine what it meant to be happy. Deciding in that instant was no small feat. As she glanced at the caller ID, she understood something fundamental. Life was not about choosing one path over another, but navigating the intersection of love, responsibility, and newfound joy. With her father watching and Anna waiting expectantly, a question lingered in her mind as the phone continued to buzz. Could she break free and embrace the richness of her own narrative, or would she remain ensnared in uncertainty? She took a deep breath, preparing to make her choice. But as she reached for her phone, a new message lit up the screen, one that could change everything. As Sarah's heart raced, her eyes darted to her phone again. The new message wasn't from Mark. It was from a contact she hadn't spoken to in years, her old friend Emily. I heard about your dad. I'm so sorry. Can we talk? Emily's name brought a rush of memories flooding back. Laughter in the school cafeteria, late-night study sessions, dreams shared under the stars. It felt like lifetimes ago, yet the warmth of that friendship still lingered. But this wasn't just about nostalgia. It was an invitation to reconnect, to share burdens, something that seemed suddenly enticing. Sarah? Her father's voice interrupted her reverie again. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. Her mind wrestled with the weight of possibilities. Could she bring old friends back into her chaotic life? Did she even have space for that? The phone screens lit her face, casting a glow that highlighted her uncertainty. Sorry, Dad, it's just... She hesitated, searching for the right words. It's Emily. She wants to talk. A gentle smile played on her father's lips. Sounds like you could use a friend. I know these times can feel lonely. His thoughtful words turned a key inside her, unlocking a small part of her that craved connection beyond these walls. Emily could offer a fresh perspective, a moment of joy amidst the heaviness of their reality. Do you want me to give you some space? Anna chimed in, her eyes glimmering with understanding. Sarah shook her head firmly. No, I think I'd like both of you here if you're okay with it. Of course, Anna said with a warmth that made Sarah feel seen. Her tentative smile in return was a mix of gratitude and appreciation. Taking a deep breath, Sarah dialed Emily's number instead of answering Mark. Perhaps this was the moment she needed to breathe, to take one small step toward easing the weight she felt on her chest. As the phone rang, Sarah peered at her father, who sat comfortably, the hint of a smile at the corner of his lips. Choosing her roots felt right. Hey, Sarah? Emily's voice came through, humming with familiarity. I know it's been a while. Hi, Emily. Sarah's voice wavered but steadied, surprised by the flood of emotion that came with hearing her childhood friend again. I got your message. Are you okay? Emily asked softly, genuine concern weaving through her words. I heard about your dad. I'm so sorry you're going through this. We're making it through, I guess, Sarah replied, glancing at her father, who nodded encouragingly. They were together in this, but perhaps it was also okay to begin weaving back in the threads of her past. Is there anything you need? I'm here for you. Sarah felt her eyes welling up. The invitation hung in the air, heavy and sweet. Actually, I could use a listening ear. Absolutely. Let us do a catch-up, okay? You and me, just like old times, Emily replied, her voice brightening. In that moment, Sarah felt a shift within her. It was one small spark, maybe the beginning of piecing her life back together. This wasn't abandoning her dad. It was making room for shared laughter, for memories revitalized. As she spoke to Emily, seconds drifted into minutes, and the world around her faded. The hospital walls and the beeping machines became a distant background to the safety of old friendship. But just as the conversation flowed, Sarah's phone buzzed again. This time, it was Mark again. She took in a deep breath. Was this the right moment to let him back in? Her gaze fell on her father, who was listening to Anna recount a humorous story about her day. They looked so peaceful, so wrapped in their shared happiness. Sarah's heart fluttered, torn once again. She didn't want to trample on the fragile moments they were relishing. Just a second, she said to Emily, her voice mixing anxiety and anticipation as she redirected her focus back to the buzz of her phone. What would she say? What was blocking her path? The question lingered in her mind as she explored both sides of her awakening heart. With Emily's voice still audible on the line, Sarah took another steadying breath. The warmth of their shared laughter faded slightly as her focus shifted to that nagging message from Mark. She hesitated. What would it mean to let him in now? Hadn't she just decided to seek comfort in the past, in familiar friendships? This moment felt critical, like a crossroads. But when had life ever been so simple? Hey, Emily, can I call you back? She said, her voice tinged with uncertainty. I just need a minute. Sure. Take your time, Emily replied gently. The understanding in her tone made Sarah's heart swell with a sense of relief. It was nice to know some bonds could pick up right where they left off. As she ended the call, she looked back up at her father. His eyes were soft yet alert, clearly aware of her internal conflict. He was still listening to Anna's story, the laughter spilling out effortlessly between them. Sarah wanted that comfort, that ease. But was it enough? She glanced back at her phone, lingering over Mark's name displayed brightly across the screen. His messages had become increasingly frantic in the past week's anxiety pouring from every text. But it wasn't just his tone that surprised her. It was her own reluctance toward him now. Why did hearing from him feel more like a weight than a comfort? Dad, she ventured, breaking the light-hearted tempo of their moment. Can I ask you something? Of course, sweetheart, he replied, turning his full attention toward her. If I opened up to someone I used to know, would that be okay? Would it feel like I'm leaving you behind? The question felt heavy in her chest, echoing insecurities she had kept tucked away. Her father's response came after a thoughtful pause. Sarah, you can keep growing your relationships. That one tea changed the ones you already have, especially ours. Friends come and go, but family, well, family sticks. I'm proud of you for reaching out. His words filled her with a sense of freedom and clarity. She felt anchored, as if the wind shifting through her sails wasn't a danger, but an opportunity. Taking a breath, she scrolled to Mark's message and tapped it open. There was a nervous flutter in her stomach. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about her. Every word weighed down by emotions she hadn't fully processed yet. Maybe, for once, she could put herself first, carve out a space for her feelings, her needs. Just as she began to type, her focus broke again as Anna's voice rang out, loud and clear. And then guess what? He slipped on the ice, right in front of the whole class. It was hilarious. They all erupted into laughter. The sound wrapped around Sarah, prompting a smile to dance on her lips. God, I needed this, she thought, glancing back to her father and Anna. They really were magic and anchor amidst her tangled emotions. Hey, can I just share something? She decided to pivot back, feeling swept up by the moment. Absolutely, Anna said, eyes wide with genuine interest. As Sarah started sharing an embarrassing moment from her teenage years, laughter filled the small room, illuminating the dark corners of her grief. While she regaled them with the story, a small part of her began to understand what it truly meant to move forward, how to find joy while holding on to love. Yet, just as the laughter crescendoed around her, the phone buzzed once more. This time, it was a video call request from Mark. Her heart dropped. Perhaps it was time to face whatever lay on the other side of that screen. Sarah's smile faltered slightly as she locked eyes with Anna and her father, uncertainty creeping back in. This could lead to anything: comfort, confrontation, or chaos. But wasn't that part of the journey too? With shaky hands, she finally hit the accept button. What would he say? Would he understand all that she was feeling? The screen started to illuminate her face, but just before it connected, a voice in her head reminded her that this moment mattered, that maybe everything was about to shift once again. Would that shift bring her closer to healing or pull her further from the love she had found in the laughter? The screen flickered to life, and there he was, Mark, with his unkempt hair and those familiar wide eyes that always seemed to dance with a touch of mischief. But today, the sparkle was overshadowed by something heavier. The corners of his mouth turned up in a tentative smile, but it didn't quite reach his blue eyes. Sarah, he said, his voice softer than she remembered. Hey, hi, she replied, her own heartbeat racing. There was something about this moment that felt both surreal and grounding, like stepping into a river that was both familiar and unknown. How have you been? I've been trying to be better, he admitted, glancing down briefly. It's been rough, you know? The weight of those words hung in the air between them, thick and charged with unsaid emotions. Sarah had thought she'd prepared herself for this conversation, but it turned out to be a deeper dive than she anticipated. She leaned in, her curiosity winning over her hesitation. Do you want to talk about it? I mean, if you're comfortable. He swallowed hard, the shift in his expression signaling a vulnerability she hadn't seen in a long time. I feel like I've been lost, he confessed. Like no matter what I do, I keep circling back to this place of regret. I thought about reaching out, but I wasn't sure if you'd want to hear from me. Her heart clenched at that. Regret was something they both shared, a tangled thread in their past that had caused pain and distance. I get it, she said quietly, wishing she could reach through the screen and squeeze his hand. But I'm glad you did. Mark seemed to draw strength from her words. I didn't handle things well back then. The breakup hit me harder than I admitted, and I panicked when things started changing for both of us. I guess I was just scared. Scared? Sarah repeated, surprised. You were always the brave one. Maybe, he replied, a soft laugh breaking the tension. But bravery doesn't mean you're not afraid. It just means you try anyway. She thought about that for a moment, his words striking a chord deep within her. It resonated with what her father had said earlier. Embracing growth didn't mean losing those you cared for. I've been afraid too, Sarah admitted, feeling lighter somehow. Afraid of moving on, of letting go of everything we had. But I also know it's okay to feel joy even while I'm sad. Mark nodded slowly, as if savoring her words. Exactly. I've spent too long trying to drown in my regrets instead of honoring the good stuff that happened. I want to make things right, Sarah. Not just for us, but for me too. The sincerity in his eyes made her breath catch. Was it possible they could both find clarity together? But then a flicker of doubt passed through her. Are you sure it's not just the nostalgia talking? It's been a while. No, he said firmly, shaking his head. I need you to believe that this is real for me. I'd like to try again, but I need to know if you're open to it. The silence that followed was palpable, both of them caught in a moment that felt both fragile and pregnant with possibility. Sarah's mind swirled with memories not just of their good times, but sketching over the hurt too. Could they really start anew? Her father and Anna's laughter drifted faintly in the background, grounding her in the present while the past begged for attention. She felt the weight of every shared moment with Mark, the ease of laughter and the pang of goodbye. A soft smile crept back to her lips as she took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever came next. But just as she opened her mouth to respond, a loud crash erupted from outside, rattling the window. Both of them flinched, eyes widened as they turned to the source of the noise. What was that? Mark asked, brow furrowing with concern. Sarah didn't have an answer, but the wave of uncertainty that washed over her was undeniable. Was this a sign from the universe? Or merely a coincidence? With everything hanging in the balance, she felt a surge of both fear and excitement as they shared a troubled glance. What lay ahead could either be a beautiful new beginning or another disheartening end. The storm outside mirrored the one brewing within her. As she gathered her thoughts, the question loomed in the air, heavy and unrelenting. Would they be brave enough to face whatever was coming together? In the wake of that startling crash, Sarah and Mark exchanged silent glances, a profound understanding passing between them. Anticipation buzzed in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. Just then, the door swung open, and Anna peeked in, a mix of surprise and concern etched across her features. Everything okay? She asked, eyes darting to the screen. Just a little noise outside, Sarah replied, turning her gaze back to Mark. The moment lingered like the sound of the crash, heavy yet electric. We were just talking about us. Mark's breath caught, and for a brief moment, Sarah felt the weight of the world lift from her shoulders. There they were, two people standing at the crossroads of their lives, illuminated by the flickering light of possibility. What do you want, Sarah? He asked gently, leaning closer to the screen. I can't pretend it's easy for either of us, but I want you to know whatever you decide, I'll respect it. In that vulnerable moment, she thought of her father, lying just a few feet away. He had always been her anchor, always encouraged her to embrace life, to grasp every fleeting moment. She had been navigating the tumultuous waters of love and duty, unsure of where the tide would take her. But now, clarity surged through her like a soft wave. I think I'm ready to try again, she said, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. But it has to feel different this time. We can't fall back into old patterns. I don't want to keep bringing that past with me. Mark nodded, a hopeful glimmer flickering in his eyes. I don't want that either. I want to move forward not just with you, but for us. We can figure this out together. As they spoke, her father's laughter rang out again from his room, drifting into the hallway like a warm breeze. Sarah turned back to Anna, who stood patiently, listening in. Thank you for being here, she said. Both of you. Just then, an unexpected realization scampered across her heart. They could weave this new chapter, Mark, Anna, her father together. It didn't have to be either or anymore. Embracing the fragments of life would form a mosaic rich with meaning and depth. With that thought, she smiled at Mark. Can we all share dinner soon? I want us all to be a part of this. My dad, he deserves joy too. Mark's lips curved into an infectious smile. Absolutely. Let us make that happen. I can't wait to meet your dad. As he spoke, Sarah felt lighter. Laughter had filled her world again, stitching together moments of warmth amidst uncertainty. Maybe the chaos could blend with beauty, moments once filled with pain transforming into something sweeter. I'll set it up, Anna chimed in, her spirit infectious. The joy swelled within Sarah, mingling with the love she had always felt for her father. She wanted to cherish these moments, to remember them in vibrant hues, just as the autumn leaves glowed with color outside. Later that night, as she sat with her father, the familiar hospital walls draped her in a sense of belonging. She recounted the day's conversations, every moment blossoming into joy. As he laughed and shared stories, Sarah's heart swelled. He had always been there, showing her strength, resilience, and love. "Dad," she whispered, voice thick with emotion. "I'm so grateful you're here with me. I want to make more memories. Let's embrace every bit of it." He looked at her, the glow of the setting sun spilling into the room, radiance illuminating his smile. "I've always believed happiness is found in sharing life with others. You deserve all the joy this world has to offer." Tears brimmed in her eyes as she squeezed his hand, understanding that strength could be found in vulnerability, in the messy intertwining of love and duty. She was ready for her fresh start, filled with laughter, shared stories, and the warmth of connection. As the sky deepened into twilight, Sarah felt the weight lift, replaced by a genuine promise to embrace love, friendship, and all that lay ahead. Her father's laughter, Mark's hope, and Anna's kindness blended into a new dawn, a rich tapestry ready to be woven. And, with that realization, Sarah understood that it wasn't just about balancing the scales of love and duty. It was about allowing herself to live fully, while cherishing the journey that connected them all. Life was long, but this moment? It was hers. Before the night closed in fully, she texted Mark one last time. "Let us meet soon, and let us make magic happen together." As her phone buzzed back with a simple, enthusiastic yes, she felt the first winds of change begin to sweep through her heart, a promise that together they would build something beautiful. Now, here is the moment for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find this journey. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending below. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now, and this is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your actions make a difference and remind us of the beauty in every story.